Yo, what's up YouTube, it's your boy VTV Sports, back with another video, NFL video here for you, man. Please like and subscribe, show your support. Got another video dropping soon. Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate. Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, everything like that, man. But as you can see by the title, is it Cam's fault for the Patriots not winning, breaking the streak of their playoff streak? And it's like, that was a big thing, man, for them to not be able to go to the playoffs. You always see them in the playoffs. Patriots are always in the playoff mix, man. For them not to be this year, it's weird. But it's, of course, all the morons out there who don't know anything about football and they don't know what they're looking at. You say, well, Tom Brady wasn't there, so I guess you see what happened. Tom is he's just so good, right? So they basically just act like fanboys towards Tom Brady. And what they don't realize is if Tom Brady was on that team now, they would have less than 7 wins. Because their whole offense right now is predicated on the run. The whole offense, the majority of the offense is QB doing QB runs and running the ball with the running back. They don't pass it like that. That's number one. So, of course, Tom Brady is not even a little athletic, so he wouldn't do anything with the run game. And then, so what you basically will see is a heavy run game. From if Tom Brady was a quarterback of the Patriots right now, you would see majority of a run game, and that doesn't work because they don't have any killer threat running backs at all. It's not like no Derrick Henry's on that team. And B, it gets old. People can predict running. If you're a running team like that and they know you don't have any receivers, they're gonna stack the box and everything like that, and it's not gonna work. But of course, so everybody starts blaming Cam. Although just start blaming Cam. Cam's the reason, and Cam could have played better. He has to get his arm. As a matter of fact, if I were the Patriots this year, I would have benched Cam the entire year because he was coming off that shoulder injury. And you could see in a couple of games, he was just throwing up all in the dirt sometimes because of that shoulder injury. So I would let Stidham start, and so he can block the season, and Stidham carry them to a losing record, and then they can go in the draft and get him a nice weapon, and then Cam can be fresh off the second year. So I would bench Cam altogether this year, just to let him get his shoulder completely right for the next year, and so they can probably get a good draft pick. That's what I would have done. But they played Cam, and Cam played well. Okay, he had some mishaps. He left Seattle, he fumbled Seattle, but they got a lot of wins considering the skill level of this team. I mean, my goodness, they have practice squad receivers, unknown running backs. Their most skilled player on the offensive who's playing right now on the offensive team right now, besides Cam Newton, is Sony Michel. That's the most skilled player right there. And Sony Michel is not even an all-star. He's not Pro Bowler. I'm getting used to NBA talk. He's not even a Pro Bowler. And of course, I'm on YouTube, looking in the comment section, and they say, well, Tom Brady had virtually the same lineup last year, and he went 12-4. So, again, this is where morons are being exposed. Because if you know anything about the Patriots lineup last year, they had Chris Hogan, solid receiver, nothing crazy. Rob Gronkowski, you already know who that is. Julian Edelman. They had Cordell Patterson, which is actually a solid receiver. He was good last year. They had James White. So they had a team, and then the defense played better last year anyway too. So they had a way better team than they did this year. Okay, they had a way better team than they did this year. And yet, so people like, yeah, they had the same lineup. So that's people who don't know anything about football, because they had a way better team. They had way more weapons. They had, 3 solid receivers on their team, and they had Rob Gronkowski. Gronkowski, a solid running game and everything. James White and Sony Michel, both there. And you look at the Bucs right now. That's where Tom Brady is. They say, well, and the Bucs are 9-5. So, they say the Bucs are 9-5. They're doing way better than they did with Jameis Winston. Again, ignorance. Jameis Winston did throw 30 interceptions, so did Peyton Manning. That's not really a big deal. Well, it is a big deal. It's terrible to throw 30 interceptions a season, but it's really people It's double standard, of course. They say all that, but nobody's saying that for Peyton Manning, right? Nobody was criticizing Peyton Manning's season when he did that. Or nobody's going back and say, hey, Peyton Manning did that. Nobody's criticizing Peyton Manning for that season right now, right? So, but still, it's bad to throw 30 interceptions. So, they say, oh, well, look at Jameis, and then they brought Tom Brady in, and so they just gloss over the fact that Tom Brady has Antonio Brown. They brought him in. They brought Rob Gronkowski in. They also, brought Leonard Fournette in there. So they have two, and I think Jones, they have two solid running backs. And they brought two just star receivers. I mean, you can argue Gronkowski and Antonio Brown are a little bit, over their prime a little bit. Gronkowski was out of the league for a little bit. And Antonio Brown's lost his mind. But, he came back. And he's not really as sharp as he used to be, but he's still a good receiver. Still a great receiver. So they add those two pieces, right? Because Tom Brady can't do anything without a complete offense around him, without star linemen and star receivers. He's not going to carry no scrub team to the finals. I mean, he's not Russell Wilson type where you can just work with nothing. Why? Because he's not athletic, and he counts in that line and them good receivers to get open, so he can just sit there and just. I mean, Tom Brady is really nothing crazy to watch. I mean, he sits there. He usually has a great offensive line. He sits there. Receivers get open. He throws the ball. I mean, he's an average quarterback. He does have a good knowledge of the game, but he's really an average level quarterback. He don't have no spectacular arm, no kind of crazy cannon Patrick Mahomes. God knows he's not a Lamar in terms of running. He's just an average quarterback with good IQ and everything. And he's always had a nice offensive line, decent receivers around him. But he's also been a great game manager. So that's basically all Tom Brady is. So when you think about Tom Brady has a great offensive line right now, and it's not great, but it's pretty good. And you see some of you saw glimpses of it of what would happen. I always say this. You saw glimpses of what would happen if Tom Brady was on a sorry team, because sometimes that Bucs offensive line would break down, and he would have a lot of pressure in certain games. He would get folded up, and nothing he could do. So, people say, well, you see what Jameis did last year, and now they brought Tom Brady in. Now Tom Brady's going crazy. They have two other star receivers, two other targets they added. Now Tom Brady has a super team, and they're still down at 5. But that marinade, they have Godwin, Evans. These are two all-star level receivers, or Pro Bowl level receivers. Antonio Brown, Leonard Fournette, Gronkowski, and they're still not going to make the Super Bowl. So, isn't that crazy? We knew things would get better under Tom Brady as opposed to James Winston, because Tom Brady is a better game manager, and he's a better, ball control, turnover. He's better at keeping the ball and not turning it over. But back to the Patriots and Cam Newton. Cam Newton played well. He could have played better. He definitely played well. And without Cam Newton, you're not even getting the wins that they have right now. They have 7 wins? You don't get that under Jarrett Stidham. Have you lost your mind? Jarrett Stidham. Because you think about it, like I said, the whole Patriots offense is predicated on Cam Newton running the ball and trying to get this select. Like this is predicated on Cam Newton running the ball. Those read options, those quarterback keepers, that's a lot of their offense right now. Because they have practice level receivers, dudes you never even heard of, and they can't get separation. So they have to try something different. They have to just try to run the ball. But they can't. Their offense is not. They can't rely on passing because they don't have the receivers for it. And so when you think put Jarrett Stidham in there, what are they going to do? They can't just make their offense, all quarterback centered around the quarterback running. They can't do that. I mean, so they will be forced to pass like 30, 40, 30, 35 times a day, a game. And that's going to be a disaster because the receivers can't get open. And, when you have horrible receivers, you need a quarterback who can improvise. And that's what Cam can do. He can get out there and he can run, and that's what they're doing with Cam. That whole offense is predicated on Cam Newton's running ability. And, they run the ball with the running backs a lot too, because they can't really pass like that. And when you know when the defense can study your film and they can go in the next game knowing what your offense is predicated on and what you can do, it's hard to be able to succeed. When they know you have practice level receivers and they can just load up the box and rush all day because they know you can't really pass. So, they know you can't really get more than 15 yards on one pass attempt. You got little scrub practice squad receivers. They know you're gonna have to run the ball with Cam a lot. You're gonna have to do read options and quarterback keepers. They know that stuff is coming, and they know you're gonna have to run the ball with the running back too. So it's really people not giving Cam Newton enough credit, because hadn't it been for Cam Newton, they wouldn't have won more than 7 games. They wouldn't have won even 5 games. They wouldn't have won even 5 games. 5 games without Cam Newton, because that whole offense is predicated on him being able to run. They have no kind of firepower on offense, no kind of deep threat receivers, nothing like that. They don't have no kind of game breaker, game changer running backs. They have no serious talent on that team besides Cam Newton in terms of offense. The defense has been a little mediocre too, but Cam Newton, that whole offense is centered around him running the ball. Cam Newton has literally carried this offense, because that's the only thing, that's what he brings to the game. He can run the ball, and you have a guy who's 6'8" in cleats, and he's a little, he's fast for his size, and he's very elusive. That's another thing that he brings to the game that Tom Brady will never bring, that Jarrett Stidham would never bring, that other quarterbacks will never bring, and that's why they have the wins that they have right now. Because had Cam Newton just been a fat or just unathletic pocket passer, or a Peyton Manning like that, who relies on the receivers to kind of make space and get open and make these spectacular catches, that offense wouldn't survive, because they will. Your receivers can't get separation, so you will have to you either have to fit the ball in perfect spaces, or B, you just can't pass. You just have to go to something else, and without Cam. What else are they going to go to? Are they just going to keep on running? You can't expect to succeed in the NFL by having a strictly run the ball with a running back game, just straight up running back game. You can't expect to see, unless you're Tennessee. But even Tennessee, they use play action, because of Derrick Henry. And when you have a good running back, you can use play action. But Patriots don't have any of that, and Patriots don't have any receivers that can get crazy separation like that. No kind of threats. So, Cam Newton, basically, moral story, Cam Newton has no talent around him. And the fact that they have this many wins is amazing. It speaks to what Cam's been doing. The running play, everything he's been doing, it speaks to that. So, man, y'all leave Cam alone, man. Cam he was playing well. Without Cam, you don't even get 7 wins with this team. You don't even get 7 wins. You don't even get 7 wins without Cam. Because what are you going to go to? If you put Tom Brady in that situation, and Tom Brady has no receivers that can get spaces, Tom Brady gonna pull it down and run? No. So, that's all I have. EBT Sports signing off. I do have another boxing video coming out. Please like and subscribe, show your support, and that's basically it, man.